Welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Convos. My name's Ashley, and this is my cousin, confidant, and co-host,
Reagan! And here we like to discuss things that are going on in the world.
And what's going on in our own lives.
Nothing is off the table here. So pull up a chair and join us for another Saturday night conversation.
Hey guys, welcome to our third episode of Saturday Night Convos for our second season.
Yay!
Tonight we are going to be talking about something that I think impacts a lot of people. It is the big D.
Divorce.
So yeah, that is what we're talking about tonight. I'm actually a child of divorce, an adult child of divorce, because my parents separated and all of that fun stuff when I was about 22. So yeah, so I come from a different kind of perspective.
This is going to be like a therapy session for you, Ashley.
It literally but we're gonna talk about some stats and just like the psychological effects on children and even adults, because when the family breaks like that, it's still hard. So grab a drink and let's get into it.
Yay. So
Reagan, how frequent do you think divorce happens in Canada?
In Canada?
I have a stat for it.
Oh boy. Well, I'm going to say like 50% of divorce or 50% of marriages end in divorce. So I'm going to say like, I don't know, like 100 a week.
Okay, well, I got a stat for about approximately 38%.
Okay.
It's actually lower than what I thought.
Wait. Of 38% of all marriages in Canada? Really?
Yeah, that's the stat that I got. However, divorces are increasing. So in 2018, there was approximately 2.68 million people who obtained a legal divorce. Which, if you think there's like 33 million people.
Yeah.
So
like 1/30th of the population?
Yeah. Apparently, we did not want to be with our significant others in 2019.
I'm just really surprised that it's only 35%.
38%? Yeah, that's
like I don't know. I've always thought divorce rates were higher than that here. I guess not. I guess I don't know.
They might not be counting like common law as divorce though, right? Or as separated or
It's possible. Interesting.
So well, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you have something there.
You're driving this car. You go.
And then I looked up the stats on divorce in the US. And I know you have some stats for there as well. But they were comparable. So do you want to share some of the fun stats that you have for the US?
Okay, sure. So these are just some divorce facts. So these are for the US. It's called 32 Shocking Divorce Statistics. And I'm literally looking at like a food label right now, and it says divorce facts: servings per marriage 42 to 45%. Okay, so so people who get married like once, so their first marriage, 42% of those in the US will end in divorce. So that's, I guess that's what, like 4% higher than Canada?
Yeah,
probably.
Just isn't bad.
Yeah. So, but by the second marriage, the divorce rate goes up to 60%. And once you hit the third marriage, it's like all downhill. It's like 73% of those marriages end in divorce, which is like, honestly, if you get married once and you get divorced, okay, and if you get married a second time, okay, But by the third,
Mm-hmm.
why would you even want to get married again?
I don't know. Some people are eternally looking for love, right? I saw a recent episode of Dr. Phil, or I didn't see, I saw a clip
Yeah.
of it on Facebook, uh, Matt Watch.
Yeah.
And this woman had been married 10 times and was still looking for love.
Oh my god.
And in all honesty, like, that is just a lot of energy to be
Yeah.
married and a lot of money.
Think about if the woman took all of that time and money and put it into something productive. She could be like a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Ashley, what's the average age for divorce?
I think you said that. Is it 30 or is it older?
30. Yes,
30.
30. And there are 100 divorces per hour in the US. 100.
That seems really like I know it maybe it isn't, but that seems really high.
It is. It is. It's huge. I don't know. Okay, the top 5 states with the let's do the highest divorce rate first. You were trying to guess some of these, and
Okay,
you were
let's
like
New
completely
York.
off
New
base.
York.
Okay, so for the highest divorce rates, so you're guessing New York. New York is not one of them.
Okay. West Virginia.
No.
Texas.
No, actually, it's somewhere else.
It's the
Surprisingly.
lowest.
One more guess.
Virginia.
No. Okay, so the top 5 states in the US with the highest divorce rates are Arkansas, Nevada, Oklahoma,
Nevada makes sense.
Yeah. It's 4.6 out of every 1,000 new Nevadans get divorced. Anyways, okay, so Oklahoma is number 3, Wyoming is number 4, and Alaska, surprisingly, is number 5.
That is surprising.
I mean, I guess like you would get tired of your partner pretty quick if you had to spend like 200 days with them locked up out of like the year because it's so cold up there, but still.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's nice out. Go fishing. And I'm
Yeah,
not a
right.
fishing person, but still.
Okay, the top 5 states with the lowest divorce rates.
Okay, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana.
Nope.
Um, Ohio,
Nope.
Delaware,
No. No.
Connecticut.
No. Okay. Top 5 states with the lowest divorce rate as of
Um,
2015. Sorry, what
uh,
were
I was thinking of something with a V that's close to New York. Go ahead. I can't think of it.
Virginia?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Top 5 states with the lowest divorce rates: Iowa, Illinois, Massachusetts,
So the Midwest.
yeah, Texas, and Maryland.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So if you look at Arkansas, which is the first out of the 5 highest, it's 4.8 in every 1,000 residents get divorced. In Iowa, it's 1.2 out of every 1,000 residents gets divorced.
That's high.
Yeah. What or no?
I wonder why in Arkansas, why it's so high.
I don't know, because in Texas, like you look at the Bible Belt, right? Texas makes sense because it's the evangelical Christians, and once you get right,
Yeah.
Arkansas, I'm surprised by because it's still in that same region of the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
So I don't know why
That's
it's
what
so
I mean.
high.
Like that kind of surprises me. That's why I was thinking more like New York. Like New York's more
Yeah.
the city like that
Yeah.
some people don't even know they're married. Go to Las Vegas, they don't even know.
That's why the divorce rate's so high there.
Yeah. Um Yeah, some of those were surprising.
Hmm.
Like the Midwest, like the fact that theirs are low, that does not surprise me because, right, you have a lot of large farming communities where
Yeah.
a lot of traditional values, you
Yeah.
get married, you stay married, right? Like
Yeah.
I understand that.
Mhm.
But yeah, some of those very, very surprising.
Yeah.
And like Wyoming.
I
I
know.
know,
Out in the middle of
again,
nowhere. Why?
Wyoming's right, like it's not the mountain state, but it is very mountainous.
Yeah.
There's some people don't like it there, so they might move there, get married, whatever, and just
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that could be it. I don't know. Or maybe it's just really easy to get divorces in these places.
yeah, maybe. Some people like celebs like Wyoming. Kanye's moving there, so
Really?
I don't know. He has a
Okay.
ranch there.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
wanted to go on vacation to Wyoming because Flicka, right? Flicka's
Oh, yes, yes,
so
yes,
I was
yes.
like, let's go to Wyoming. And my partner was like, no, there's nothing in Wyoming. I was like, but there's
Mountains.
mountains and it's so pretty.
What's in West Virginia? Mountains.
Yeah, it's just like an easier drive. Like it was still a like because we've gone to Tennessee and Tennessee was a 10 or 12 it
I
was a
think it's
12
about, yeah,
it
10
was
or
like a
12 hours.
12-hour drive.
Yeah.
And then West Virginia was 8 hours. Like
Really?
it was in a bad drive because you we drove through Michigan and
Hmm.
then a little bit of Ohio and then we briefly went through Kentucky and then we were in West Virginia.
Interesting. I
So
didn't
it
realize that
wasn't
was so close.
yeah, you don't realize
Did
like
you know that Joe Manchin is the senator or one of the senators for West Virginia?
I think I did know that.
Yes.
How did you know that?
I watch CNN. So, what are some of your statistics that you got there?
Um, so I looked up divorce rate in the EU because I thought it might be interesting.
Yeah, we have some
Um,
listeners from Europe.
So which country has the lowest divorce rate, do you think?
Um, I'd probably say like Germany or Brussels,
Okay.
Belgium,
So
Sweden, Norway. Nah, not Norway. Norway probably has one of the higher ones.
according to the UN, the country with the highest divorce rate in the world is the Maldives.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
isn't that interesting?
that is interesting.
With 10.97 individuals per thousand inhabitants per year.
Wow. I'm just Googling where. So the Maldives is a little like tropical island off of Sri Lanka
Yeah.
and India. It's literally in the middle of the like Arabian Peninsula or the Arabian Sea.
Okay, so the lowest divorce rates in Europe were registered as Malta, so 0.7 divorcees per thousand persons, or Ireland,
Wow,
which is
really?
surprising.
Yeah.
So these are lowest, so 0.7
Mm-hmm.
per thousand. Slovenia, which is 1.1 per thousand, and Bulgaria, Croatia, and Italy, all three were 1.5 per thousand.
Really?
Yes. I
Surprising
don't know.
and
Ireland's a little bit surprising.
yeah. I don't think like Italy is very surprising because they have an older population, right?
Hmm.
So a more traditional
Culture.
demographic and culture,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny, I've heard different things like from individuals that have like immigrated here compared to like right cultures have changed upon
Yeah.
immigration
Yeah.
and then right the cultures that are that stayed in Italy. So it's still a
Mm-hmm.
very old traditional
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
very, very interesting.
Hmm. So what are the countries with the highest divorce rates there?
Uh, do, 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 do. Portugal.
Huh. Interesting.
Whoa. So Portugal 64.2, Luxembourg 62.5, and Spain's 57.2. That means like
Or is that per 100,000?
it might be.
That would make more sense.
That would make more sense than that. No, it says per 100 marriages. So, you know what? If you think about it,
Hmm.
like we thought that it was 50% of marriages.
Yeah, I
So
guess. Yeah,
it's just over that.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah.
And then really, in all honesty, like Switzerland was 39.2. So it's right around Canada
Hmm.
and the US.
Yeah.
And the United Kingdom's over that at 41.2.
Mm.
Um, and then Finland's at 50, but then you those are the Czechos like
Yeah. Yeah.
so they're a little bit higher, but all of them are somewhere in the range of us.
Wow. Interesting.
However, Ireland's at 14.9, so I vote we all move to Ireland.
I think that's a great idea.
That is my takeaway from this.
Mhm. But again, like I would argue that Ireland still got that like traditional Catholic
Yeah.
culture, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a place like Spain or Portugal, they're very much more liberal in their thinking, right?
Yes. And Luxembourg's very right. It's the last time I heard it was the richest country in the world. Like
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
very interesting.
Hmm.
I've never looked at this before, so
Well, hey, that's why we're doing this.
um so yeah, do you have anything else to say about stats?
I do not. I thought they were really interesting, and I'm not going to lie. I was kind of blown away at some of them.
I am too. You know what? I've always been told, or I've always like thought that it was 50%.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
It kind of gives me a little bit of hope to like be like, there's less than a 50% chance that I would be divorced if I were to get married tomorrow. There's a 38% chance.
there you go. Even better.
Even better.
Oh my goodness. Force. We're looking at the stats of divorce. So looking at like how like the psychological effects on kids. So divorce happens. So say you get married and everything's, not kosher and there's kids and whatever. I don't know how to put it.
I love that. Not kosher.
So like as we're talking about this, I do want to say that we're not picking sides on anybody. We're just talking about this because it is relevant. Because I know quite a few people who are either products of divorce or I personally don't know anybody at my age who's divorced. I don't know if you do.
No, I don't. Most of my friends aren't even married yet. So but I am not a product of divorce, so I don't really have any like personal
Mm-hmm.
takes on this. I will say that I remember in my grade 12 sociology class, we were asked who in the class, I think the question was who in the class still has like their parents married. And there were like 20 people in the class, and probably only 6 of us raised our hand.
Wow.
So, I mean, that gives you like a good like reference point. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than that, I really don't have any experience with this topic. So, it'll be really interesting to kind of get your perspective and hear some stuff about it.
Sure. So my story, again, saying this as like this is just for everybody's knowledge. I'm not choosing sides. I'm just, you know, just putting that out there. So my parents separated when I was 22 and it had been rocky for a while. However, there had never been any discussion.
Huh.
So I got home. It was July 19th of I think it was 2013. 4
I think
13.
it was.
I want to say 2000,
I think it was
2014.
14.
2014.
Yep.
So I got home from shopping in the States because we were shopping for my best friend's wedding. And I was super excited. And then my mom comes up to me and just says, "Hey, I just want to tell you that your dad told your sister that we're getting a divorce." Um, and I'm just
Deer in the
like
headlights. Like, what is
broke
going
down,
on?
like
Yeah.
literally like broke down.
Yeah.
Um, and from there, I literally got in my car and just went to my partners, my boyfriends, and I just went, I can't live here. This isn't going to go well. Like in my head going, like I had seen, right? Like sometimes when you know things aren't going well, you
Mhm.
put blinders up, and after the fact, I saw things, like I saw patterns.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that day,
Yeah.
I moved out.
Oh, wow.
I said, I can't be here. Like emotionally, I can't deal with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And then about 2 weeks later, my mom moved my 16-year-old brother out
Mm. Yeah.
of the marital home and moved him in with my sister.
Right.
So it was just a really, like, I was older. My
Yeah.
brother was still under 18.
Mhm.
I had two older sisters who were both out of the house.
Mhm.
So I feel for my dad in that situation because right, everybody left.
Yeah.
So I feel for him.
Mhm.
But there was a lot more going on in that situation than I was aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, this is 6 years ago.
Mhm.
My life has changed dramatically,
Mhm.
but since then, it's been, like there's been a lot of back and forth. There's been times when things have been kosher, and there's been times when things haven't been kosher. And a lot
Yeah.
of the time, things aren't kosher, and it leaves a lot of stress on my siblings and I. And I think the one thing I can say,
Mhm.
as a parent who has brought a child up, so like my son's now at the age where he doesn't understand completely why his grandparents don't speak.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I have to, like,
Mhm.
he asks my mom why she doesn't live with my dad,
Mhm.
or he'll ask them both questions. So I have to try to interfere with that to
Mhm.
try and not cause anything. So as a parent, I'm now trying to explain things to my almost 5-year-old
Mhm.
that they love each other, they're a family, they love you,
Mhm. Yeah.
trying to not put, generational
Yeah.
trauma onto him
Yeah.
because it's not his fault he came into this,
Mhm.
but it leaves a lot on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I truly don't think my parents mean to do it,
Mhm.
but I myself have been separated, and when I did everything in my power
Mhm.
to not put anything on my kid.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's a generational thing that I'm completely in this for. Like, if anything happens, I will do anything for my kid.
Yeah.
And when their marriage ended, there was a lot of resentment,
Mhm.
and it was taken out on us.
Yeah.
So if anybody gets anything from this, just remember, like, just because that didn't work out,
Mhm.
just remember that you still have kids out of it. You still have to get along.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my story.
Yeah.
It's been a long, like, I'm hoping eventually things will settle, but I can't be unrealistic that it won't. My son's first birthday, like, I was really excited. Um my dad didn't show up to my son's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And that really just kind of stabbed me.
Hmm.
And that I had to adapt to that I do separate birthday parties.
Yeah.
Like this year COVID's great. I don't have to worry about it. Right? Like
Yeah.
but last year they both showed up to a school event, right? So like they're slowly coming around to stuff, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's anxiety
Yeah.
on me because I'm like, how are they going to interact?
Yeah.
Are things going to be okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I just had this thought. So a lot of the divorce stories I've heard,
Mm-hmm.
the one that you just explained is on like if we're going from like 0 to 10 on like the kosher scale,
Mm-hmm.
or like 0 is like really good and 10 is like not good at all. Yours
Yeah.
would be closer to the 10, whereas I've heard stories about, families who get together for Christmas, even though they're divorced, they still do Christmas with their children all together.
Yeah.
Everyone, right? Or ex-in-laws coming over for Christmas dinner because they have nowhere else to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or, divorced parents who got remarried who still did everything with
Mm-hmm.
their ex-spouses and their new
Mm-hmm.
partners, right? But I think the thing that came to mind when you were talking about Liam is that I think I'm not a psychologist here or an
It's okay.
analyst, but I think that when your parents divorced and you said they put a lot of stuff on you, and they still put a lot of stuff on you guys, and they're slowly coming around with Liam, but I think that's because you guys were so much older when
Mm-hmm.
they separated, right? They didn't
Yeah.
have these events that they felt obligated to go to,
Yeah.
right? Or reasons to be civil with each other, right? When you're talking about their grandchild, well, nobody wants to miss, events, especially as the child grows, right?
Yeah.
So there's a reason there
Mm-hmm.
to be a little bit more civil with each other.
Yeah, and you know what? There's multiple sides to every story, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get into what they went through. It's from my point of view.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
again, there's a whole backstory. It
Mm-hmm.
is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on good terms with both of my parents. I love them both. Um, but yeah, I'm glad that things have come around to the point where, I can, if again, once he's back in school, if
Yeah.
he has something, they will both show up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
because like I have a really good relationship with my in-laws. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have a fantastic relationship with them. I want there to be that open relationship with all of his grandparents
Mm-hmm.
because I just they all live within a 5 minute.
You want him to be close to his grandparents,
I
right?
want him to have that
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
all of them. So
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate that he does.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know 6 years ago if that would happen.
Yeah.
But it has. So
Well, there you go.
it's
Progress.
progress. And you know what? I think with all relationships, there's always going to be ebbs and flows, right? And
Yep. Yep.
there are lots of ebbs and flows.
Oh, goodness.
But
Yeah.
I'm really fortunate I have siblings who have gone through this
Mm-hmm.
with me.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
if I'm feeling something, I
Mm-hmm.
just call one of them. And
Yeah.
I'm really close with all of my siblings,
Mm-hmm.
which I couldn't say 10 years ago with my brother
Yeah.
because we're very, right? He's younger and I'm like 5 years older.
Yeah.
So we've had our tiffs. So yeah, so that's
Well, that's good.
yeah.
I mean, out of the hardest events comes, right?
Yeah.
It comes prosperous fruit, right?
Mm-hmm.
sibling relationships.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can truly like all of my siblings, like all of our relationships are different, but they're
Yeah.
definitely probably at the best spot they've ever been.
Well, that's good.
I don't steal as much clothes from my oldest sister as I used to.
Well,
Uh,
that's good. I'm sure she appreciates.
in terms of like what, the family unit goes through, like
Mm-hmm.
divorce is something that, you know, it depends on how like the communication is, right? Like
Yep.
we had very like it was what it was kind of communication, but like for families out there that go through it and decide to, do holidays together and Christmases together and all of that, like they make a choice that they're going to put things aside
Yeah.
and
Yeah. So looking back as you were growing up, because you said, once it happened, you kind of hindsight's 2020. So what were kind of
yeah.
some of those predictors that you saw kind of after the fact that you kind of realized, oh, like that happened, or like that was kind of like an indicator to me?
I don't want to say a lot. I will say one um I showed up. So the day that I found out, I showed up at my boyfriend's and he like I walked in the door and I was like
Mm-hmm.
a mess and he's like, "Oh my God, you found out." So other people knew, but he didn't feel like it was his place because right, like
Yeah.
I live in a very small community.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like rumors and like he's friends with one of my dad's good friend, right? So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he had heard something, but he didn't know if it was true.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, there was that. And then um I think couple months later, I saw somebody from our community and she was just like, "Your parents haven't been happy for a really long time." And
Oh.
I'm just
Hmm.
like, things like that, like
Yeah.
that were just said. And like,
Yeah.
you, when you're in, right, when you're growing up, you don't know anything
Yeah.
different,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I think really all that, especially an adult, like anybody who goes through anything, all
Yeah.
you can do is learn from it
Yeah.
and just try to do better.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
And
Yeah.
that's really, again, I have made my fair share of
Yep.
mistakes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So looking forward, how have you taken what you've learned out of kind of that season of life and applied it to your own relationship and going forward?
Um,
Like what tangibles have you taken away that like I need to be able to do this better in order to make, my relationship so much stronger?
I really believe in communication. I
Yeah.
talk a lot.
Yeah.
Um, because that was one of the key things that,
Hmm.
communication
Yeah.
and just having my own sense of self,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
um, and just never giving up on things that I believe in.
Hmm.
I'm a very strong and independent person, and the
Hmm.
moment I give up on that,
Hmm.
like, is the moment that, like, why am I fighting for all of this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and like my relationship with my partner is just as important as my relationship with my son. Like all of
Mhm.
that's important.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know, just making sure all those relationships are intact.
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
big on communication though. So if something's bothering me, I say it because it doesn't leave me alone. Like I'm just like, no, that's bothering me. And I have a little bit of OCD. So typically I'm just like, okay, you need to move that. I'm not a fun person to live with.
That's okay.
I'm very vocal.
You know what? You know what I've learned over the past 10 years? I've learned that you have to be able to speak up for yourself. You
Yes.
have to be able to have a voice, because until you can communicate what you need or how you're feeling, you're not really moving forward, right?
Mhm.
So I find, like, I am so assertive now. I am able to tell my dad exactly what I need, or other people exactly what I need or what I think. And it may not always go over so well, but say 80% of the time it doesn't go over well because I get the eye roll from somebody.
Mhm.
But at least I am saying this is what I need and this is
Mhm.
how I feel, right?
Mhm.
Be-
I'm sorry. Um, I feel like I never really, growing up, I didn't really have a sense of self.
Mhm.
And going into my adulthood, I really had to gain that sense of self
Mhm.
for me to like just be successful as a person.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like I so much revolved around being on the farm.
Mhm.
Like I didn't do sports in high school because I had to get home to do chores.
Mhm.
And like because that's what I said. Like I had to do that.
Yeah.
And like there was just things that like when I was off the farm, like I had to kind of just figure out me.
Mhm. Mhm. What do I do with all of this time that I have now?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like this, especially in this season of life,
Mhm.
past COVID, like it's it's a unique time, right? Because this is my second, like I did a maternity leave and now I'm off another 8 months, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely an interesting time because like what are we doing with all of our time? Like it's definitely an interesting time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it
So
for sure is.
so I think for me it's just really having a strong sense of self and like what your values are and what
Yeah.
you believe in and all of that stuff because if I don't have that, I'm just like floating and I
Yes.
don't do well with floating.
Yeah.
And then just like striving, like I'm raising a 5-year-old, so just trying to give him all the opportunities I can for learning and just
Yeah.
trying to be the best mom I can be.
It's having that
And
purpose, right?
yeah,
Because once you're
and
without that purpose, you just, as you said, you float, right?
yeah,
And then things just don't work.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's at a really fun age right now, so fun.
He keeps you so busy.
Oh my gosh, he's so fun. He was playing this morning and he
Yeah.
was like with his trains and he was like doing like a southern drawl. Like he was like, this I can't even do it. Like it was so funny. And I tried to record it and I was like, hey, can you do that again? And he wouldn't. But then he was like, I'm gonna do dance moves. Like, oh my God, you're ridiculous. It's
We're
like,
coming,
why?
Texas. We're
I was like,
coming.
why are you talking in a southern drawl?
Because he
So
knows how
yeah,
much Reagan loves the southern states. That was a really bad accent, but
it's okay. Oh my God.
whatever. Oh
Yeah,
goodness.
then I would be looking down at my phone and he'd be like, Mommy, look at me. Then I'd look down and he'd be like, Mommy, look at me. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Uh,
That's so funny.
FYI, I saw today Kate plus 8 selling her house.
Really?
Yes, I saw that.
Wow.
Speaking of divorces that went turmoil.
Oh my goodness. Those two are both out to lunch. Like, it has to be like, to be on a reality show and to put your kids through that and then to like go through this massive divorce that they'll Google, in the future when they're old enough to Google. Like, those kids are like 18 now, right? So they probably already Google. But like,
Like the older kids are, but the younger kids
no,
are, I
the
think they're
younger kids are like 16.
16. Yeah.
Oh, are they 16?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thought they were
They're born
older.
in 2005,
Five.
2003,
No,
something like that.
2005.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 5. It's 20.
They're
20.
I think they're 16.
I can't do the math. I can't do the. You know what though? I remember watching like the pilot of that show with my mom. She's like, "Oh, this is such a nice show."
Yes, it's edited to look that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a all of the headlines that have come out of that
I know.
and like Kate plus date. Yes, we want to watch Kate go on dates. That's exactly what I want to watch.
Yeah, exactly right.
Good gosh.
And then like her kids like picking sides, and it's
But
not healthy. I mean,
again,
he's not a saint either, right? But
no, and right, I think it goes back to like y'all aren't married anymore.
yeah.
Put
Yeah.
it down. You
Yeah.
got 8 kids. That's where it's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's maybe right. Speaking of, hey, this is speaking of our last episode. Go check it out on our link tree. Right, millennials. So we're just I think we look at things as like a different perspective.
Yeah.
That like we're not looking at all of the baggage. It's just more of like, okay, that's past. Okay, where are we at now?
Yeah. Yeah. We've dropped this, time to move on.
And like if we're wrong on that, let us know. But that's kind of how I view it as.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Okay, so I just Googled this because you brought up millennials. So in Bloomberg, here's another one. Millennials are causing the US divorce rate to plummet. They're
That's
waiting until
interesting.
it's all secure before tying the knot. Americans under the age of 55 have a novel way to rebel against their elders. They're staying married. New data shows younger couples are approaching relationships very differently from baby boomers who married young, divorced, remarried, and so on. Generation X and especially millennials are being pickier about who they marry, tying the knot at older ages when educated. Careers and finances are on track. The result is a US divorce rate that dropped 18% from 2008 to 2016, according to an analysis by the University of Maryland Sociology. So that's really interesting because I have found that the way that I am approaching like this whole like dating thing, like kind of where's my life going thing is with what I like to call purpose. I don't like I'm forcing myself to be picky. I'm like, I have to keep my standards high because I don't want to be divorced.
Yeah.
Once I get married, that's it. Right? So I think that mindset, it's really interesting how it's caused the divorce rate to plummet almost 20%. And that would have been under 10 years, 2008 to 2016, I think.
Right, you think though, like, right, people aren't getting married at like 20.
Yeah.
It gives you more time to know who you are as a person,
Absolutely.
what you want in a partner.
Yes.
You're
Preach.
not gonna go just marry Joe Blow down at the gas station.
Preach, sister, preach.
Right? And
Yeah.
then right in 10 years you're going to be like, why the hell did I marry him? Why now I have 2 kids? And right? And if you choose to do that, all the best to you.
Yeah.
So, and I understand why it's gone down.
Yeah.
Like I think that we're getting smarter, and it's actually I've known people, actually somebody that I know pretty well. She actually moved in with somebody, and she was like, if we hadn't lived together before we got married, we probably wouldn't have got married.
That's so funny.
Right? But like a lot of people that I know have lived together before they got married.
Right.
Because it actually, right? Like it decreases the stress after you get married.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I shouldn't say anything because I'm not married. But we do eventually have plans of getting married.
Yeah. When would you like to lay out a date for us or a timeline
No.
perhaps?
But like we're not against it. But
Yeah.
it's just I think it has to be on your time frame because
Yeah.
right, looking at those statistics from 10 years ago, that's a scary thing because divorce is expensive, right? Especially if you're
Mm,
looking at well, it depends on how long you've been married. You have to pay out however much of your, CPP and all of this stuff. So
yep.
divorce can be expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting married is also expensive.
You know what? You know what? If 2020 has taught me anything, it is that I don't need the big fancy wedding. If
Yeah.
I were to get married tomorrow or next week, I would literally go to like, I don't know, the woods or like City Hall or something and just get married. And
Yeah.
then like the big party afterwards when everybody, doesn't have to wear their fucking masks and be socially distant.
Which
We
just
can
makes
have
a
some
lot of
fucking alcohol and just have a good. Yes, I had my ride, my gin tonight. But that is what I have. I don't need the fancy stuff.
yeah.
A marriage isn't about. It's not about where you get married or what you wear. It's about who you are marrying and making that marriage strong enough to weather those difficult times, right?
If you live through 2020, then you could probably live through marriage. No, and I 100% agree with that because at the end of the day, right, one day isn't going to change the rest of your marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I don't know, you've probably watched the show Four Y or not Four
Four
Wives, but
weddings. Yes.
Four weddings.
Yes.
And the amount of money that they spend on those days, right?
Mm-hmm.
They might look nice, but at the end of the day, one of those
Things.
one of those
Yeah.
um couples probably don't end up staying married if you're looking at the stats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And they throw all their money in this pot just to try and win this show so that they can get a divorce or get a divorce to get a honeymoon. But if they had the smaller wedding, they would be able to afford the honeymoon and they wouldn't have to
yeah.
do the show.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, I've never been somebody for a big wedding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and just, it doesn't, I don't know. I don't really like standing up in front of people. When I stood up in my friend's wedding,
Mm-hmm.
I literally like just hightailed it down the aisle. I was like, I just have to get there. She's like, you walked really fast. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, so
Divorce.
divorce, I tell you. So you wanted to talk about some other stuff too.
I think we touched on the psychological effects on children.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we touched on a lot of stuff
I
today.
think we did. I think this was a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is. It's very interesting.
I think, right, like if especially right where I'm a year and a half away from 30, which is terrifying. Oh my God. But if you think about it, right, like I don't that's the most what was that stat? That's the most common age to get a divorce.
Yes. Yes.
That's crazy.
Isn't that? Like, I don't know. I just, like, I have friends getting, like, engaged and married or getting ready to be married nowadays. And I'm kind of like, yeah, like, I'm 27. Like, But then other days I'm like, not yet. I need to get to 30. And that stat just proves it, right? Because I
Yeah.
don't want to be divorced by 30. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Yeah, no, I think I'm good till I'm 30. Once I get to 30, I'll hire the Indian matchmaker to find me someone.
Okay, Auntie, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That's a funny show.
it is. Did you watch it?
I still have to finish the last 3 episodes.
If you don't know what we're talking about, we are talking about the Indian matchmaker on Netflix. If you
Watch
want,
it.
if you want a funny like show, watch it.
Indian Matchmaker, guys, on Netflix. You should watch it because it is really funny and just like quirky. Like it's a funny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you get to see a different cultural side too, which I found fascinating.
Yes, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Reagan, do you have anything to add?
I do. We have a PSA, Ashley, because this episode today is the 24th, but this will drop on the 31st. And the 31st is closest to November the 3rd. And November the 3rd for all of our American listeners, because we know there are so many of you and we so love that you listen to us. You need to vote. We don't care who you vote for.
Just vote.
Vote. Have your voice heard and participate in your democracy. That is our PSA.
Yes, and we thank you for voting because, again, at the end of the day, as long as the democracy is heard, it doesn't matter who gets in.
Yeah.
But just vote.
Just vote. Please, please just vote. Vote, vote, vote. Anyways, thank you for joining us this week, guys. We hope that this was relatable for you. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. And if you have stories that you want to tell us, you can email us at SaturdayNightConvos@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Saturday Night Convos and Twitter. We're getting
At Night Convos.
Convos Night.
Convos Night, sorry.
Come on,
Convos.
Ashley. Come on, Ashley. We're getting better at updating that. We don't have it quite down yet, but Ashley's going to get on that.
I couldn't log in.
I'll send you the information.
Okay. So we're getting better at that.
All right, guys. Don't forget to subscribe so new episodes pop up on your streaming platform automatically. You don't have to go searching for us. And if you like,
Because you don't want to miss us.
exactly.
We
And if-
have 7 more fantastic topics that are coming your way. So, subscribe.
Subscribe. Yes, that's right. And if you like what you heard, you can pass this along to your friends. And you can also comment and leave us a rating because we like to hear from you.
Yes. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. We hope that you found this educational and you learned something or, whatever. And if you didn't, just let us know. We hope you all have a great night and a great week, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.